my name is Ryan, and for today's video, I'm going to be talking about a game I've been enjoying lately, that being Marvel Rivals. Now, as you know, Marvel Rivals is the current hero shooter game, which has a bunch of your favorite Marvel characters. And for this video, I'm going to be talking about Marvel characters I think would be a good fit for the game. Specifically for the first part, I'm going to be talking about Duelist, and then the next two parts I'll move on to the Vanguards, the tanks, and the strategists, the healers. So yeah, so these are personal characters I would personally like to see that I think would be a good fit for the game. Yeah. So without further ado, we'll start. But before I actually do start, I'm making a little disclaimer that I won't be going off of characters from a leak that I'll put in like right next to me, like I usually do with the images. There's a leak that has been out that came out since I think like after during season 1 of Marvel Rivals, where it showed off a bunch of characters that were found, I think, in the game files. And so far to this point, most of those characters, well, some of those characters are already in the game, and so they will not be on my list, since that most likely they'll come to the game. And two more things is that the first thing, well, as the time of this video, we are in season 7 of Marvel Rivals. So, and according to the gallery comic card in Marvel Rivals, that is teased that season 8 we will finally be getting Cyclops added to the roster, who you also saw on the leak image. And also it teases that we are getting Devil Dinosaur as a character as well. And finally, the last part I want to mention before I get into the list is that we are going to have a Road to Doomsday event, which is basically all the Marvel Avengers movies getting events from the first Avengers movie from 2012 all the way to Avengers Doomsday. And with the first Avenger movie event giving us a skin for Loki for his appearance in that movie, that would most likely suggest that later on this year, during these events, Thanos and Doctor Doom will become playable characters. So those two will also not be mentioned in any of these list videos. So with that out of the way, let's begin. Starting off for characters for the Duelist, I have Ghost Rider. Now, Ghost Rider is a character we will all like to see, especially after season, I believe it was season, it was either 5 or 6, where we see that Doctor Doom has a vision of Cynthia Von Doom, who is in the comics is Doctor Doom's mother, who made a deal with the demon Mephisto, and she is now trapped in hell. In fact, it is said in the comics that once a year, Doctor Doom travels to hell to try to free her mother from Mephisto's grasp. So, given the whole story with the history between Ghost Rider and Mephisto, I think this will be a most likely character to see down the road. So, as for his abilities, we know he has his chain whip as his signature weapon. I think he'd be like kind of like one of those dual heroes like Blade and Deadpool, where he has range weapons and melee weapons. For Ghost Rider, his melee is obviously the chain, his little Hellfire chain, and his range weapon is the Hellfire shotgun. which I would see being really cool. For other abilities, I can see like one being like he summons his motorcycle. I think that would be really cool. And as far as his ultimate ability, I think it would either be with the motorcycle or maybe something similar to Emma Frost's ultimate. Like his ultimate ability is the penance stare, which, as you know, from the comics and from the movie, that it inflicts the pain and of all the sins you commit on the innocent lives of people. So I think that would be really cool to see, and hopefully down the line we get Ghost Rider as a character. So next up for Duelist, we have Gamora from the Guardians of the Galaxy. Now, Gamora, it has been mentioned in Marvel Rivals, especially with an interaction between Star-Lord and Black Panther, where he asked if Black Panther has seen both Gamora and Drax in somewhere in the galaxy, because apparently they're missing at the moment. And also, Gamora, as we know, is a founding member of the Guardians, where we have Star-Lord, Rocket, and Groot. We're just missing Gamora and Drax, so I say high time to add one of the founding members to the group. And as far as abilities, I think just like Ghost Rider and the others I mentioned, she will also be a dual wielder. Like, I think it will mostly be her sword skills she'll be using, and probably a gun as like a secondary ability. And as for an ultimate, I'm not really sure how it would be done as an ultimate. Maybe something similar to like Blade, only instead of all those slashes afterward, it's like a straightforward, like, stab right down the middle, strike, I guess you can say, sword thrust, that anyone in the path will take a lot of damage and even be killed. So who knows, that would be cool at least. Okay, next up is Ant-Man. So in Times Square, we already have those little pin burger thing, where if you interact with it, you get like the ability to shrink or grow. Like you'll either get lucky and become really huge, or maybe unfortunate and become tiny. So with that, besides that, I think Ant-Man would be cool, and like, who knows, since I have team up abilities, one team up I know a lot of people will love to see is like with Hawkeye, where he turns small and rides one of Hawkeye's arrows, kind of like the abilities like the fastball special with Wolverine and the big character, the muscular characters Hulk and Thing, or even Thing and Human Torch's ability, where Thing Human Torch picks up Thing and drops them off in like a dive bomb attack. So that would be a cool team up. As far as abilities, definitely one where he can shrink and like sneak past the enemies. Like, unless you like pay attention and look, you won't see him. And I would say, like, when he's small, he is easier to kill, probably. Like, since he's smaller, he was like easier to like take a hit, like from like, I don't know, the Thing charging. And other abilities, I would say, like, one of his abilities is like the disc he has, the little him disc, where basically when it hits an enemy, they will become tiny. They shrink down and be more susceptible to damage, like take a lot more damage than usual from from Ant-Man and other allies of Ant-Man. And Ant-Man's, well, teammates, I should say. As far as an ultimate, I would say his ultimate is called Giant Man. Basically, he activates the blue pin particles and goes giant and basically stomps around. He gains a bunch of health and stuff. So that I think would be cool for if he was added to the game. Next up we have Vision, everyone's favorite synthezoid. Now we already have Ultron in the game, so why not add in one of his best creations? So as far as Vision in the game, he will definitely be a flyer like Iron Man, Storm, and some of the others. As far as abilities, he would definitely one of his main attack would definitely be his like forehead laser. And as far as his like phasing abilities, I would say he can probably implement that in a way, like you can phase through enemies' attacks and even through walls as like a quick getaway and stuff for a limited time. I don't know what his ultimate could be per se, but I still think Vision would be a good character to add. I don't know, if you guys can think of an ultimate ability for Vision, let me know. Let me know your thoughts. Next up for Duelist, I have Quicksilver. So I know what you're probably thinking, like, how would this work since he's a very fast character? His whole thing is a speedster character. I think it can work. Like, he can have the fastest moving speed, like kind of like Luna Snow. How she moves forward for a bit. She starts ice skating for momentum. I would say for Quicksilver, he's a little bit faster than Luna with running speed. Now he would definitely be a melee character because he doesn't really have like guns or anything. He's just fast with fists, unless, well, actually no, he's not the Flash. He doesn't have lightning. So as far as abilities, I would say like one thing would be like maybe kind of like a parry ability, where if he got shot at, he's either like dodging the abilities or like the parry, basically he goes right behind the character and like can do like a cool like attack in a way. So that would be cool. And as far as an ultimate, I would say something similar to Storm, where she makes a giant lightning like a hurricane. I would say he makes like a tornado by running around a circle, and it can pull in enemies, and it does like a lot of damage, especially when you're in the center of it all. And I would say like it creates like an air vacuum if you're in the center, so it gives ongoing damage the longer you're in it. So that would be cool. I think it would actually be bigger than Storm, since it's like a vortex kind of thing. So I think that would be cool. Next up for Duelist, I have the Green Goblin. Yes, the Green Goblin, everyone's favorite Spider-Man villain. As we know, he is yet to appear in the game, but we have seen that Squirrel Girl, her racer, her like part of her like racer skin that only like her and Thor, I believe, are the only ones who have it so far. She basically, her sponsor is Oscorp, and as you know, Oscorp was created by Norman Osborn, the Green Goblin. So as far as I'm concerned with Green Goblin, I think he either be a flyer, or he can just summon the glider for like to fly around for a limited time, like Star-Lord in a way. Now, we know he has like pumpkin bombs. I think those would be like a secondary ability. I think for his first ability though, it would be like the little pumpkin bat slicers, I think they're called. I don't remember exactly, but I think those would be cool. And let's see, I guess something like when he's flying on the glider, something similar to Iron Man, he launches like 2 like missiles at his opponents. So I think that would be cool to have. And as far as an ultimate, I think something that would be kind of cool, like a mixture of like classic Green Goblin and ultimate Green Goblin, is that his ultimate ability turns him into the ultimate Green Goblin form, where he's big, muscular, an actual goblin, and who knows, maybe even have that strange fire ability the ultimate Green Goblin has. So that would be cool. Next up for the Duelist is a character that was actually mentioned after, like, I believe sometime during season 1 or after that, is Morbius. Now, he was mentioned with a conversation between Spider-Man and Dagger, mentioning that after they were attacked by a group of vampires, Morbius came in and saved Spider-Man and whatever friends Spider-Man was with at the time. Doesn't really mention that, but since he was mentioned, I think it would be really cool to see him join the game. Not unlike the Morbius movie, which we don't talk about ever. So, as far as abilities, definitely he'd be another melee character with his sharp claws. I would say one ability would be kind of like Wolverine's in a way with the Feral Leaf. He has like kind of like a grab ability where he lunges onto an enemy and like drinks their blood. Now this would cause like a weak status to the enemy who gets attacked, and it would increase his, like, he will regain health or maybe a bit of armor for a time, and even I would say like gain a small boost, a temporary boost in strength as well, like a power up. As far as ultimate abilities are concerned, you know, he might summon like an army of bats that just like attack the enemies, like ravaging them, like tearing them apart, which I think would be a cool ultimate ability, by the way. Next up for characters, I have Falcon. Now, Falcon was actually teased in last season's map when we saw his bird Redwing caged up in the Collector's Museum. Now, for Falcon, I think he'd more so be a flyer than another flyer character. So, as we know, Falcon has this is more comic book Falcon than movie Falcon. So, no like dual pistols or anything. He has his blade, his wing blades, as we know, and yeah, with those he shoots them out as an attack, so that would be his primary. I think maybe he can also use them as like blades in a way, maybe for his like close range melee attack when he's like out of ammo or whatever. As far as an ultimate ability, I would say probably Barrage, like maybe he has like the robot Redwing, the little Redwing drone, and like attacks. Now I don't actually know the I don't know like if he has both the pet bird and the drone as Redwing these days. But as far as I know, he does have a superpower that allows him to communicate with birds, with other birds. I know that for sure. So maybe something like that can be incorporated. But as far as I know, I think Falcon would be a good choice. Next up for Duelist, I have Iceman from the X-Men. Now, we already have Luna Snow with her ice abilities, but she is a healer, so I thought maybe a character that attacks with ice instead of helps with it. And for that, we have the one and only Iceman. Now, probably something similar to Mei from Overwatch. He has an ability where he shoots a spray that slows down and freezes the enemies, and like another ability where he and the secondary is like a quick like icicle shot he shoots at people. That I think would be cool. Now, as far for other abilities, I know like he creates an ice bridge, so maybe utilize that in a way, either as a slow fall ability, or even like to create ramps, kind of like Groot does when he makes his walls, angles his walls up. And as far as an ultimate ability, I would say he creates like it would be like a blizzard ability where he creates like a blizzard storm that slows down and freezes enemies caught in the attack, and it does damage to them over time, so that would be cool. And finally, for Duelist, I have Black Bolt, the King of the Inhumans. Now, the Inhumans so far are the only group of heroes not in Marvel Rivals, so I think this would be cool to have. As you know, Black Bolt has the ability to fly. I think that's more so with his like suit, but his main superpower is a voice that, even with a small whisper, can shatter an entire mountain, or at least cause it to shake like an earthquake. Now, as we know, he can't talk because of that ability, but I think something they can incorporate to make him communicate with his teammates is he has this like fork antenna thing that helps him manage his speaking abilities. I think what they can do is make it so that antenna gives him telepathic ability, so he can talk to people. And as far as abilities, so I would say he little small like whispers. Maybe he'll have like a mask or something to help him modulate how much he talks, like how much of the blast he can use. Like he shoots little bits of, like, he goes like like, who knows, maybe a legendary skid will have him saying like funny things as he does so. And as far as an ultimate ability, I say he takes off the mask and gives one big shout like, enough, and just something like that, and it's just a big blast of sound that anyone caught in the blast will take a tremendous damage. So that'd be cool. And so that's my list for Duelist for Marvel Rivals. Stay tuned for next time, as I'll go over Vanguards, or tanks as most people like to call them. Until then, peace out, and I'll see you later. Bye.